Dear students, today we will study the visual elements of design. First element I would like to introduce you to is line. The most basic visual design element is line. In graphic design, a line is defined as a connection between two strokes. These are the building blocks of other visual design elements like shapes. You can see we have geometric uniform width line as well as non-uniform width line, that is organic line. They can also stand on their own to create emphasis or divide elements. Lines can have a personality all of their own. Straight, wavy, curved and zigzag lines each have a distinct look and feel to them. In addition, lines are smooth or textured, dotted or continuous, thick or thin, curved or straight. All in all, there are many creative ways to use lines to create an effective design. The simple line can possess a large variety of properties that allow us to convey a range of expressions. For examples, lines can be thick or thin, straight or curved, have uniform width or taper off, be geometric, that is, they look like they are drawn by a ruler or a compass, or organic, that is, they are drawn by the hand. Depending on their context, heavier dark lines can communicate stability or underline a threat. Scribbled lines can suggest excitement, confusion, or messiness. Zigzag lines might express electricity or anger, while wavy lines can suggest fragility, elegance, uncertainty, or beauty. In this image on the right, you can see the use of lines and the black bold color. Next, we have shape. As you know, shapes are two dimensional, self contained areas. We typically think of shapes as geometric circles and rectangles, but they come in all forms imaginable. In graphic design, there are three types of shapes: one mechanical, second organic, and third is abstract. Mechanical shapes are typically geometrical with precise edges and corners. They are used to add structure and stability to a design, whereas organic shapes are shapes that mirror the natural world, that resemble the natural objects present in the nature. They may have texture or round edges to create a natural look and feel. You can see the images at the bottom right, that looks like the spiral. You can see they look like leaves, also starfish, clouds. They are all organic shapes, the shapes that are present in the nature. Third, the abstract shapes are irregular shapes that can be used to add symbolism or a variety to a design. See, here is an example of geometric shapes, how the line is so thin and the shapes are represented through the use of only four colors, and this has formed a pattern. Third, we have space. Space is the area that surrounds or divides elements in a design. We often think of space as white space in design, but it doesn't have to be white. White space can be of any color. It refers to the negative space or the space in between the shapes. Space allows design elements to have ample breathing room. This goes for typography as well. Letters that are crammed together are difficult to read. In addition to separating elements, space can also add emphasis to elements and contribute the balance of a design. In these poster designs, space is used to separate different shapes and sections of text. Although there are a lot of colors and elements in this design, the ample space between them prevents the design from looking overwhelming. You can see how the elements are placed together, and this is the space left in between so that we can focus on the text written in the image. A negative space, also known as white space, is the empty area around a positive space. The relationship between the shape and the space is called figure or the ground, where the shape is the figure and the area around the shape is the ground. You can see in this logo, homely on it is written. The negative space shows a home, whereas the positive space that is the ground, shows the chameleon and home Leon written in this. The negative space is just as important as the positive shape itself because it helps to define boundaries of the positive space and brings balance to the composition. Some of the designs makes use of negative space to create interesting visual effects. For example, the world famous Worldwide Fund for Nature WWF logo makes use of the confusion between the positive and the negative space to create the image of a panda. Next element of design is color. Color is an exciting visual element to play around with in the design. Color choice plays several important roles in graphic design. In addition to setting a mood and tone and bringing out certain emotions, color also contributes to contrast, variety, harmony, repetition, and space. Because of these many roles, color choice can effectively make or break a design. This website design on the right illustrates how color can be used to establish a particular look and feel. The white space in the design implies purity, while the green and soft beige colors complement the brand's natural approach to beauty and wellness. Color is an exciting visual element to play around. You can use color to call attention to one part of the design over another. Color palettes and schemes can be used to create brand recognition. For example, Coca Cola would use a lot more red, while Pepsi would use a combination of blue and red. But, however, you decide to use color, think about how you to create hierarchy and unity within the design. Color is not always used for brand awareness and aesthetics. Sometimes it is needed to understand the content you are communicating. In this landing page example on the bottom right, the designer chose to use a limited color palette of black, white, and yellow as an accent color. We can see from the logo in the top left hand corner that yellow is a core brand color for the company they are designed for. This design decision makes sense for the brand. It also helps to accentuate the call to action buttons. Fifth element is texture. Texture is something you can feel. It is the surface quality of an object. It is the feel of a surface furry, smooth, rough, soft, gooey, or glossy. Most graphic designers must visually convey texture by using illusions to suggest how their work might feel if viewer could touch it. There are different ways to experiment with texture in your design work. If you are inspired by nature, you may want to work with organic textures, drawing inspirations from leaves, tree barks, stones, fur, flowers, grass, and soil. Rather than using only solid colors, texture is a way to add depth and character. Textures can be created by a repeated pattern of lines or by using tiled images of textures. You can see multiple textures. From on the right we have different lines, textures created through lines. Diagonal lines are there, cross lines, straight vertical lines are there. This lines shows lines on the tree trunk. Then you can see texture can be created using dots also. Then you have scribbled lines, dotted lines, how the images and textures have how the pattern has been created and how the texture has been used in the images. Sixth, we have form and volume. Volume or form refers to three-dimensional object in a design. Since visual design is a 2D form of design, the only type of volume visual designers use in design is volumetric illusion. In other words, visual designers can create the illusion of volume through 3D shapes and graphics. Incorporating 3D graphics is a great way to add depth and variety to a design. Take a look at how form and 3D objects are used in this landing page example. The image on the right is a 3D depiction of an office scene. It's not a line art illusion, illustration, or a photograph, it's a visual created with 3D technology. We can see the amount of depth in this image by observing the front, top, and side views all within one angle. You can see here. Next, we have type. Type affects the overall mood of a design. So consider whether your letters should be print or script and whether they should have angles that are sharp or rounded. Whether you are choosing a font or creating your own typography for a graphic design project, it's important to make sure the type you use is legible and appropriate for your subject. The weight of your lettering is also an important part of your design. Typically, large or thick letters convey that the words they convey are important. If you aren't careful, though, they can also seem heavy handed or disrupt a design's balance. Thin letters can connote elegance or modernity, but they can also seem fragile. Here are three examples of how type can be used in design. In the first example on the left, you can see how the typography has been done in curves. Whatever happens, just roll with it. How the text has been placed thick and bold, whereas thin and funky, catchy, and bizarre. In the example in the center, you can see the typography has been done in two colors, red and yellow, and how the text has been played so that we can read the Paris climate to 2015. In the third example, you can see design symposium and how VOID has been written and how the dates have been mentioned. So now I would like to end this class. Thank you so much.